Comet, asteroid, or something else? A Harvard astrophysicist believes there's a strong likelihood this is a craft of alien origin.
Something from another star system is screaming through our solar system, and it just did something that has scientists terrified and the military in a panic. This object, 3I Atlas, was hit by a blast from our sun, and instead of breaking apart, it lit up brighter than a star and changed direction on a dime. You see, that's physically impossible. So what did the Space Force do? They shut everything down, confiscated the data, blacked out the feeds, but you won't believe the one image that leaked out before they could stop it. 48 hours of silence. The first sign that something was profoundly wrong came not as a bang, but as a flicker. On a quiet September night in 2025, inside observatories from the high deserts of Chile to the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, technicians stared at their monitors in disbelief. The live feeds from the Atlas Telescope Network, the world's foremost defense against rogue asteroids, had frozen. One moment, the interstellar object 3I Atlas was a faint, steady trace moving against a backdrop of distant stars. The next, it was gone. The timestamps in the corners of the screens kept ticking, but the data stream had flatlined. Initially, it was dismissed as a routine glitch. Technicians checked cables, refreshed browsers, and rebooted servers. But not all things are what they seem. Panic began to set in when they realized it wasn't just one site. It was every single network telescope tracking the object. Every observatory, from government-funded giants to university outposts, hit the same invisible wall at the exact same second. Within minutes, private chat groups used by amateur astronomers lit up with screenshots. All of them were stamped with the same time, 0312 Coordinated Universal Time, followed by the chilling message, data unavailable. The most shocking fact is how quickly the official channels shut down. NASA's public dashboards, usually a source of real-time wonder for millions, suddenly displayed a cold corporate message, feed interrupted, operational security review in progress. The Minor Planet Center, the global hub for tracking near-Earth objects, had its updates mysteriously paused. Its usually bustling bulletins showed gaping holes where the data for 3I Atlas should have been. You see, this wasn't just a technical failure, this was a coordinated, deliberate shutdown. The hashtag number sign, Where is Atlas, exploded across social media, becoming the #1 trending topic worldwide in under an hour. Scientists who had dedicated months to charting the visitor's path were locked out. Their frantic emails to federal agencies met with automated responses. To put it mildly, the scientific community was in an uproar. What many overlooked in the initial chaos was that even the archived data began to vanish. Users who tried to pull up cached images from moments before the blackout found them scrubbed from the servers. The world's window to this interstellar traveler had been slammed shut and bolted. The blackout was orchestrated by a little-known Space Force protocol engineers quietly called the guillotine. It's not a single switch, but a complex web of encrypted software and fiber optic relays buried deep within the global telescope network. When triggered, it doesn't just stop the data, it reroutes it. While the public saw static, a parallel classified data stream was flowing directly to secure military servers. This system is a ghost in the machine designed for what the Pentagon calls space domain awareness, ensuring that if a truly world-altering event is detected, they see it first and they decide who, if anyone, sees it next. The hunt for answers was on, but the silence from the top was deafening. But confusion was only the beginning. What came next would ignite a firestorm of suspicion that burns to this day. A light in the dark. Before the Space Force dropped its digital curtain, the telescopes captured something that shredded the rulebook of astrophysics. The confiscated logs, fragments of which were later leaked by a horrified insider, told a story of an object that simply should not exist. In the moments leading up to the blackout, 3I Atlas experienced a surge in brightness that defied all explanation. Photometric charts, archived by European partners just before their access was cut, showed a staggering 12-fold jump in the object's luminosity. This wasn't a gradual brightening as it neared the sun. The data points leap off the graph in a near vertical line, peaking in less than 3 minutes. It was as if someone had flipped a cosmic switch. The thing nobody tells you is what happened at the same time. Solar physicists scrambled to cross-reference the event with space weather databases. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, or SOHO, a spacecraft parked 1 million miles from Earth, had recorded a major coronal mass ejection, a CME blasting from the Sun at nearly the exact moment of the Atlas flare. The CME, a wave of charged particles traveling at over 2 million miles per hour, was projected to sweep directly through the region of space occupied by 3I Atlas. On paper, it seemed like a perfect, if terrifying, coincidence. A rare solar outburst interacting with an interstellar visitor. But the story doesn't add up. Many people are crazy about simple explanations, but the science here is anything but. When a typical comet is hit by a solar storm, it releases jets of gas and dust as its volatile ices vaporize. But the last available spectral images of Atlas showed none of that. There was no expanding coma, no new dust tail. Instead, spectrographs picked up something unheard of, a bizarrely strong emission signature of refined nickel. Comets are made of ice and rock. They don't carry the chemical fingerprint of a smelter. What many overlooked was the object's movement. After the flash, its trajectory veered a full 112,000 miles off its predicted course. To make such a sharp, non-gravitational turn would require a propulsive force that, for an object of its estimated size, is simply mind-boggling. It wasn't pushed by the solar wind, it was as if it used the sun's energy to power a maneuver. The light curve itself was another red flag. Natural outbursts are messy, they rise and fall unevenly. The light from Atlas, however, rose and fell with a clean, symmetrical precision that looked less like a natural event and more like a controlled energy release. The data stream was severed at the absolute peak of this event, leaving the world with a mystery of impossible physics. Was this just a cosmic coincidence, a 1 in a billion natural event, or was it something else? The blackout didn't just hide an anomaly, it hid an impossibility. When the heavens behave strangely, interstellar objects have always been the ghosts of our solar system, rare, fleeting, and deeply mysterious. Before 3I Atlas crashed the party, only 2 such wanderers had ever been confirmed, and each one brought its own set of puzzles. In 2017, we had Oumuamua, a bizarre cigar-shaped object that tumbled end over end. The most shocking fact about it was its acceleration. It sped up as it left our solar system, pushed by a force that scientists still debate today. Some argued it was outgassing from hidden ice, while others, like Harvard's Avi Loeb, suggested it could be an artifact of an extraterrestrial technology. Then in 2019 came 2I Borisov. It behaved more like a classic comet, trailing a visible tail of gas and dust, making it strange but, you see, comfortably familiar. Neither of them, however, triggered a coordinated military data blackout. Their paths were weird, their origins unknown, but their stories were ultimately filed away under natural phenomena. Strange, but not a secret. 3I Atlas refuses to fit this pattern. It combines the impossible acceleration of Oumuamua with a chemical signature and energy event that makes both previous visitors look tame by comparison. You can see this everywhere in the data. Atlas is a different beast entirely. It's not just an oddball rock, it's an active anomaly. This sense of a cosmic event demanding attention is not new. Thousands of years ago, ancient Babylonian skywatchers etched records of torch stars into clay tablets. These were sudden, brilliant lights in the heavens, interpreted not as science but as omens, as warnings from the gods. One cuneiform tablet now housed in the British Museum describes a light that flashed across the sky and foretold a period of great unrest. To put it mildly, when the heavens behave unexpectedly, humanity takes notice. The thing nobody tells you is that our modern reaction isn't so different. We've replaced gods with physics, but the feeling of awe and fear remains. What sets the Atlas event apart is this collision of ancient awe and modern military secrecy. The blackout, the impossible physics, and the object's unnatural signature have pushed astronomers to ask a question they never thought they'd have to. Are we witnessing a natural event, a technological marvel, or something in between? The debate now stretches from the world's most advanced physics labs to the halls of cultural history. We are trying to make sense of a visitor that doesn't follow our rules, while the one organization with the best data is refusing to talk. But what if this one isn't just passing through? A coordinated act. Every official secret leaves a paper trail, even if it's written in invisible ink. The blackout around 3i Atlas wasn't a spontaneous decision made in a moment of panic. It was a deliberate act, executed through a labyrinth of classified policies. After months of pressure, a series of Freedom of Information Act requests forced the release of a stack of heavily redacted emails and internal meeting logs between NASA and the Space Force. And what they reveal is a calculated campaign to control the narrative. The documents show a clear split between NASA's desire for scientific transparency and the Space Force's rigid doctrine of information control. On July 3rd, weeks before the main event, a JPL Flight Ops email recommended a 6-hour embargo on all 3i Atlas data, citing the need for pending risk confirmation. For outside scientists, this meant they were already seeing the sky on a delay. But the real smoking gun is in a briefing summary from Major Everson, a Space Force Orbital Operations Officer. He stated that data from certain objects would be harmonized with civilian networks unless in conflict with operational requirements. That single phrase, unless in conflict, became the loophole that swallowed the biggest astronomical discovery of the century. You see, the people watching this are looking for a mystery, and the friction between these two powerful organizations is where it lies. Dr. Lena Chow, a communications lead at NASA, pushed for immediate public updates during the event, arguing that transparency was critical for public trust. According to meeting minutes, she was overruled in a closed-door vote where military officials had the final say. The Minor Planet Center, a global model of open science, found itself caught in the middle. Leaked staff emails show immense frustration as they were ordered to post blank placeholders, their trust with the global community eroding with every passing hour of silence. Data that had always flowed in real time now arrived in delayed, censored batches with entire observation windows marked temporarily restricted. The crux of the matter is this: even after the protocol-mandated 48-hour communications blackout was officially lifted, the most crucial datasets never reappeared. It was as if they had been surgically excised from the archives. We're talking about the complete, unabridged logs from the Mosaic Adaptive Optics System, every micro-correction, every minute atmospheric compensation, and most critically, the raw spectral analysis of the anomalous nickel signature. That data remains classified, locked away under a level of security we've never encountered. So, are we missing a key detail? That's an understatement. We're missing the entire narrative, the most important parts that give context to everything else. Without the full Mosaic logs, we cannot reconstruct the event's precise visual timeline. We have the final processed images, but not the moment-to-moment truth of what the telescope was struggling to resolve. Without the raw spectral data, the official report's sanitized summary of the nickel signature is functionally meaningless. We can't verify its isotopic composition or search for outlier elements that were conveniently omitted. The paper trail, or what's left of it, doesn't lie. If you follow the sequence of events, the timestamps on the redaction orders, and the metadata on the quarantined files, a disturbing picture emerges. This wasn't a system glitch. Our network diagnostics would have screamed bloody murder, flooding every terminal with error codes. It certainly wasn't a convenient solar flare causing random technical difficulties. The magnetosphere readings and solar wind data for that entire window were nominal, practically textbook. Every single excuse they floated in the aftermath was a transparent fabrication, a piece of pre-approved, easily digestible misinformation designed to placate the curious and dismiss the persistent. These weren't explanations, they were insults to the intelligence of anyone paying attention. No, this was a deliberate, pre-planned policy of absolute secrecy, a protocol triggered by an event they had clearly anticipated. It was a calculated decision, executed with cold, bureaucratic precision to sequester the most paradigm-shifting information imaginable behind impenetrable firewalls. They locked it away from the very scientists who could make sense of it, from the public who had paid for the instruments, and from a world that deserved to know. This entire operation wasn't improvised in a moment of panic. It was a ghost protocol awakened from a long slumber. The immediate blackout, the coordinated data quarantine across multiple international agencies, the subsequent top-secret classification, it all unfolded with a chilling efficiency that tells you one thing. This wasn't the system breaking down under pressure. This was the system working exactly and terrifyingly as it was designed to. The official story on 3i Atlas remains a carefully worded statement about solar weather and security, but the facts point to a deliberate cover-up of an object that defied physics. Like and subscribe for more truths hidden in the dark. Was this a warning or was it a hello?